Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel, and today I have a very special video for AAA students. Now, in previous videos, we have discussed the AA examiners report, which is the latest report that is available for the September exam. Now, today we will be discussing AAA examiners report. Again, this is the latest examiner report which is available on your ACCA global website, that is March-June 2024. So we will be dividing this particular video in three parts where we will be covering this whole report in three separate videos. My first video will be regarding question number 1, which is relating to the audit risk and business risk. Then part 2 will consist of question number 2, and similarly part 3 will have question number 3 in detail. So we'll make sure that we cover every aspect of the examiner report, and you don't have to go back and read it again and waste your time, because it's already like 27th of August and you have less than 5 days for your final paper now. So let's do it. Let's begin. Now let's come in on, let's first come to the general comments that examiner have for us. What are the few general comments that he wants us to read? He wants us to pay more attention to it. Now, first general comment, first thing that I would like to tell you, ma'am, there will be few questions. There are 3 questions. How do we get these questions? Because until and unless we read those questions, we solve those questions, we will not be able to understand the examiner's mind in a much better manner. So guys, please go and log into your ACCA platform. You will be able to see that there is a paper, AAA International March-June 2024. Now, any comments that you see, any questions that has been discussed in this particular video and will be discussed in the examiner report will relate to this particular paper only. Okay, so examiner has clearly told us that dude, you need to solve this particular paper in order to understand my comments, So 90% of students think that, the paper which are published in the examiner reports are not there. But guys, it is available on the practice platform. Please go and check it out. Please do these papers. It is very, very, very important, especially when it comes to this particular paper. The risk of material misstatement has been asked in a very different manner, which you may not have seen in, previous exam kit question. So please make sure that you watch it till the end. Now, why do we actually read examiner report? Why I always tell you guys, why I always tell my students that please go and read examiner report. First of all, there are 2 things that are very important in examiner report. The guidance from the examiner itself. Just imagine the person who will be checking our papers, the official examiners team is telling us few mistakes, few strengths and weakness that they actually noticed during the checking, during the evaluation. So if you have that golden opportunity to actually understand those mistakes, understand where the examiner is deducting marks and where he is giving us marks, so you will be able to understand how do I need to prepare for the paper, what all things do I need to write when I am attending that particular question. So the biggest lesson after this particular video should be, okay, ma'am, these were the mistakes that were done by other students. I will not repeat those mistakes. This is the biggest reason as to why we read examiner's report. Okay. Now, when it comes to the exam paper, obviously everybody now knows what are the, structure, what is the marks distribution of 100 marks. First of all, 100 marks, 80 would be your technical marks and 20 will be your professional marks. When it comes to your 10 professional marks, first of all, it is in the section A. Then another 5 marks would be in section B, question number 1. And question number 2, section B, another 5 marks. So basically, you have to write only 80 marks paper in 3 hours, which is not at all a difficult task. Especially, I just remember my days as well, that when I gave my AAA paper, I had to write 100 marks paper. So guys, we were able to write 100 marks Time management is one thing that you need to focus if you are not able to complete the paper. I will give a super golden tip for the time management also as we move forward with this particular video. Now let's go to the question number 1. Question number 1, we will be covering all 4 parts in detail as to what was the requirement, what were the general comments, what was the examiner telling us regarding these particular questions. Now, first things first, please don't ignore the opening paragraph. This is the most important paragraph that you need to read it very carefully. I have myself seen that literally as soon as you go on the CBE platform, you will just open the first exhibit, you will just open the partner's email. No guys, there is a screen that is displaying, there are few contents which is written. You need to read that particular paragraph. You need to make sure that you read that particular screen. It will tell you very important details. Ma'am, what are those details we need to look in that particular paragraph? What are those information? First of all, that particular paragraph will tell you whether the company is listed, unlisted. Are you going to get a question about a group company or an individual company? Whether it will be the new client or an old client. Sometimes it is given in opening paragraph and sometimes it is given in your partner's email. So make sure that you read the opening paragraph in order to understand at what stage of audit you are. You are in the completion stage or you are in the planning stage. Okay, you will get all these information in the opening paragraph. Year end, what is the year end? What is the date today? Okay, why knowing date becomes very important? Because sometimes you will feel that it is time pressured. Okay, so understanding all these things becomes very important. Industry, which industry is it? Is it a fashion industry? Is it an oil industry? I will be getting the particular line, and especially who is my audit firm and who is my client. Why do I need that information? Because I need to write that in to, from, subject, date. Guys, remember, please just don't copy paste to and from the question. You need to reverse it as well. Okay, so all this information can be easily found out in opening paragraph. So make sure that you actually read it before moving into the partner's email or clicking on to any other exhibit that you wish to open. Fine. Now make a habit of writing in general note, because you don't wish to come again and again to the same screen. Just whatever information you found out on the opening paragraph, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Make sure that you are utilizing this feature as much as possible. Fine. Now let's come to our question which was there in our paper, that it is 1st July, you are the manager in the audit department of Plum & Company, a firm of CCA, responsible for the audit of Magenta Group, a listed entity which has a financial year ending of 30th September. The group operates in oil and gas sector. Plum & Company responsible for the audit of group consolidated financial statements and the individual financial statements of all the group companies. See how important it is for me to read this particular paragraph. Why? First of all, it told me that who is a Plum company, who is a Magenta company. Then what is the year end? Third, what is the industry? Fourth, is it a group company or is it a listed company? 5, what is my responsibility? Am I responsible only for the individual financial statements or am I responsible for the group consolidated financial statements? Is it a listed entity or is it a non-listed entity? Just these 5 lines gave me more than 5 information that I need to remember throughout this particular question. Okay, so that is the reason I am telling you that you actually read this very carefully. Now, what examiner has to tell us, candidates should know that they are not expected to have detailed industry specific knowledge when answering questions in the examination, and the scenario will always have enough information to enable sufficient specific risks to be identified and evaluated to achieve full marks. In short, what examiner is trying to say, that you don't have to, get a lot of knowledge about industry. For example, You are very scared, ma'am. This particular question relates to the oil and gas sector. And to be very honest, I don't have much knowledge about this industry. Will I be able to solve the question effectively? Will I be able to solve it properly? Yes. So examiner has clearly identified that, dude, even if you don't have any knowledge about the industry, it's okay. You will be able to attend the question. Any details which are required, we will be providing you. You just have to do your work. You don't have to be worried about the industry that shows up. For example, when I talk about the last, I guess it was June pre-mock, there was a question regarding the fashion industry. And my students came, ma'am, we don't have knowledge about fashion industry much. So that was my same question. You don't need to have the fashion industry knowledge. It's just that you need to read the question very carefully. Whatever the information is required, the examiner will provide you. Fine. Now, examiner has clearly told us that please do the planning. Fine. Do not just jump on to writing the question that as soon as I read it, I'll just write it, start writing it. No. Please ensure that you are spending minimum 5 to 8 minutes in planning the answer. Make a structure for yourself. To, from, subject, date, everything, introduction, materiality, risk, business risk. Make a structure for yourself. In audit risk, what all things I will be writing. In business risk, what all points I will be writing. Did I highlight? Did I copy paste the important points? So make sure whenever you are writing the answer, you are first of all planning it, you are reading it properly, and then you understand the whole issue, and finally you start writing. Guys, there is a ladder that you need to follow, and do not please jump on to simply writing the solutions. Okay, what will happen? You will miss out certain information from the case, or you will end up writing incomplete answers. You will spend a lot of time on reading the questions again and again if you don't plan well. Now, partner's email. Examiner has, few things to say about partner's email. It is recommended that candidates refer to the partner's email first to ensure that they understand what they are being asked to do. Of course, this is quite obvious also, and this is quite important as well, that first of all, after reading the opening paragraph, we will move on to the partner's email first. We will not move to the exhibit 1. Now, in partner's email, you will be given again what all things are required, which all exhibits you have to refer to for that particular requirement, what is the basis of materiality. All these things will be covered in your partner's email. Okay, so examiner is just telling us that please read it properly. Now, coming on to the question that we have in the examiner's report is the magenta group. If I read its partner's email, guys, to and from, please ensure that whenever you are writing to and from in the briefing note in your answer, you would just do it vice versa. Then finally, you are given this profitability is the basis for the materiality. Sometimes in this paragraph, you are also given whether it is a new client or old client. So make sure that you read that information also. Don't just find on the basis of materiality and move on. Read it line by line, read it one by one word, so that you understand is there any other information which is relevant for me. Guys, pay attention. Using the exhibit 2, 3, and 4. So if there is any fifth exhibit in the question, I don't have to use that for these requirements. Okay. Exhibit 5 will relate to this. So make sure, am I using the correct exhibits while I am answering these requirements? Significant business risk, significant ROMM, and principal audit procedures. Guys, this is the new kind of question that I have seen. Every time what is given in the requirement that you have to identify ROMM. In this particular question, they have already identified for you. Okay, you will need to determine and apply in appropriate materiality threshold in your briefing note. So understand, justify why each of the issues has been considered as ROMM. So the whole requirement of the question is quite similar what you do in when you are actually attending the basic question. You identify, you assess the materiality, you just keep on telling incorrect accounting treatment, and finally you justify the impact on financial statement. But here the question have asked you why each of the following has been identified as significant ROMM. So of course materiality will become important, but here the student's perspective of why is very, very, very important. Okay, so this is the new kind of question you can actually expect when it comes to September papers or afterward. Now, the third is tailored answer. This is the most important and this is the most ignored tip by each and every student, especially when it comes to AAA. Now, if you are writing general answers, you will not be fetching any marks. Okay, AAA is not about knowledge. It is about knowledge and application. If you have enough knowledge of accounting standards, well and good for you. But if you don't have application knowledge, then it would become very difficult for you to pass the paper. Why? See, I have myself seen in, during my lectures as well, that few students have a lot of knowledge about accounting standards. They will write big, big paras when it comes to accounting standards, but they fail to apply to the case. For example, when it comes to IFRS 5, few students will mention all the 5 criteria and they will expect an examiner to give you full marks. No, until and unless you relate those 5 criteria to the case, you are not getting marks. Let me be very harsh and let me be very honest. Okay, so make sure whenever you are writing the answer, it is to the point, it is to the case, and you don't write general accounting standards. Fine. Now, please, please, please don't do these 3 practices. It's very, very, very important. These are not written by me. These are just copy paste from examiner report. First thing, some candidates continue to produce very vague answers. Why vague? Because either you kept on writing accounting standards or you did not relate it to the case. They need to be able to apply this knowledge to a specific scenario. In case you are not able to apply your knowledge again, then you are not getting enough marks. Generic responses which do not build on the detail provided in the scenario will gain little credit. And this is the practice. I have seen myself, I have evaluated literally in this particular session only, I have evaluated 100 plus mock papers. And I have myself seen that, you have a habit of writing general answers. You have a habit of not relating your answers to the case. So this is very important practice. Fine. Now, let's come to each requirement one by one. Question number 1 will have 4 requirements. We will be discussing what are the mistakes that you guys do, what you should do in order to avoid it, and how you can improve your answers. Now, let's come to evaluate significant business risk. First things first, significant business risk. So guys, let's say if we have 10 business risks in the scenario, it is your professional judgment that which business risk is significant for me. That is where you will get professional marks in AAA paper as to, did you decided well that, significant business risk? Okay, significant, fine, significant, significant. Okay, tell me one thing that, there was a, I would say, risk, let's say in the client's business, that license was breached. Fine. This was significant, but in next exhibit, it was mentioned that license was renewed. So there was a risk and the risk was mitigated. So if the risk was mitigated, that becomes insignificant. You need to understand if anything has been done in order to mitigate that particular risk, it becomes insignificant. It becomes insignificant. Now, good students will analyze this, that okay, this is insignificant risk, and a bad student will continue writing it as a significant risk. So the major mistake that you do as a student is, out of all the business risk, you will easily identify easy ones, but okay, it's okay to identify easy ones, but make sure, is it significant or not? Fine. Now, only significant risk, Risks that are of remote likelihood of occurring, already mitigated against, or will have an insignificant impact are not considered relevant to the evaluation. Examiner has clearly told us if something has been mitigated, if something has been done regarding that particular risk, it will not be considered significant. Not explaining well. Now, this is the habit, this is the major mistake, that you don't explain it well. It is very important for you to understand that you will not get enough marks if you do not explain it well. Now, for example, see, examiner has given us example as well, that the group is reliant on operating licenses from the government across the world. Now, if you only identify this and if you say this is a significant business risk, you will not be getting more than half marks, I can guarantee. Why? Because you did not explain that what is the risk here, how it will impact our business. Now, when this risk will become mitigated, significant, ma'am, my license was revoked. My license was not renewed. Now, due to these two conditions, I could actually stop operating, right? So this impact my business. This is where it becomes significant. Fine. So risk actually arises when there are chances that it actually, license will no longer operate. For example, if license is continues operating, it was not revoked, nothing has been done. If you don't mention these points, then you are not explaining it well. Fine. Mention the impact clearly. When it comes to the business risk, the first and the foremost important thing is that you explain the impact on the business. Will it have adverse impact on the business? Will it impact my reputation? Will it impact my market share? Will it impact my customer goodwill? What exactly will happen if this risk is significant? Okay, state the implication. Now see, the question that I was telling, that if the license was not revoked or renewed and the circumstances under which it might happen, then it will become something which is significant. I hope everybody understood. So the basic crux of this particular discussion was that, first of all, I need to highlight only significant business risk. And if I am writing anything, I need to explain it very well. I cannot just scratch the surface. Okay. Now, let's come to the requirement B. Requirement B will talk about your audit risk. Okay. Now let's come to the requirement B. Requirement B is nothing but your ROMM, that is the risk of material misstatement. This question is something which is very new. This is something that appeared for the very first time like this, where the examiner has already identified ROMM for us. Because in majority of the exam kit questions, what has been done, that we need to identify ROMM ourselves. But in this, we have already been given and we need to justify why. Okay. Now, when it comes to the materiality, 4 easy marks are available. So, if you are failing at 48, 47 or 49, let me tell you, you are not able to get these easy marks. That is the reason you did not pass the AAA paper. How to get this 4 easy marks? When it comes to the 3 technical marks. So, 4 marks is divided into 2 parts. Your technical 3 marks and 1 is your professional marks. Now, 3 technical marks, calculation, writing the proper range, that is, for example, 5 to 10% for PBT. Okay, professional judgment, which one did you choose? Did you choose the lower or did you choose the higher range or did you choose the mid range? Justification as to why you did this particular selection. Why did you choose lower range? Why did you choose the middle range? Why did you choose the higher range? Now, to be very honest, it's like a golden tip that always go with the lower range. Do not apply mine, because when it comes to AAA paper, you don't have much time to think, especially when you have a lot of time to be invested in the other parts. So what do you do? Make it simple, make things simple for you. What you can do? Simply choose a lower range. Okay. Why? Because there will be significant risk in the question. There may be significant business risk and audit risk in the question. Okay. That is why it actually came up in your paper. There will be certain significant risk that will impact your business. Okay, so choose a lower range, give a justification as to why you chose it, and finally you move it. Now, how will you get that particular one professional marks? You will get one professional marks if you are using that particular materiality throughout the risk that you have identified. For example, if you have identified 10 million, okay, as a material amount, now you need to actually understand, you need to actually pay attention that while I am assessing each risk, I compare it to this 10 million. I don't know, but students actually waste a lot of their time in calculating percentages. Okay, this is this percent of revenue, hence it is material. Guys, don't. You have calculated materiality above. Just make sure that you are using it. If you are using it in every risk that you have identified, then you will get another professional marks. Fine. So this is how your professional and technical marks are distributed for the materiality. Justification, if this is the examiner's word, once again, pay attention. This is examiner's word, that materiality has been set up at a specific value due to the risk which have been justified. So if you write such general sentences, if you write such vague sentences, you will be getting 0 marks. Why? Because in this particular sentence, you did not explain me as to why you chose this particular value. You simply wrote because below, below are the risks that have been identified. No, which risk? You must have written 10 risks, but there would be few which are significant. Okay. So make sure that you actually give a proper justification as to why you choose the lower or the higher. Fine. Now, the first part is over. Consider, be very clear. I need to write a proper briefing format. Do not forget the conclusion. Do not forget about the prioritization of risk. Make sure that you do it. Now, you know the materiality, 4 easy marks. Let's come to the evaluation. Evaluation of the risk. Clearly explain. You need to explain it very, very, very clearly. Do not apply shortcuts. Do not just simply imagine that examiner will understand. He will not understand. You need to explain him clearly. Now, what are his words? What are his comments? In any effective risk evaluation, candidates need to demonstrate an understanding of the risk, how it arises, and how the audit will focus on those issues most likely to cause a material misstatement. If you don't explain me like how it arises, what was the risk, why it is a significant risk, you will not be getting any marks. Fine. Finally, lack of knowledge. There are few areas, for example, IFRS 8, going concern, IFRS 9, where students lack accounting knowledge. So examiner has clearly told us that please come with proper accounting knowledge. Okay. So when it comes to such difficult areas, students actually are seen compromising, they actually get scared. But guys, let me tell you, there are easy points as well in the paper. So if you are, getting so anxious, so nervous about these difficult points, and you don't focus on the easy points, you will not be able to score good marks. Be patient, read full requirement, complete it, and then you will understand that while you were identifying risk, there were some easy points and there were some difficult points. Okay. Now, when it comes to evaluation, there are few comments that examiner has told us: not detailed responses, vague and general, incorrect, because many candidates just assume that because the policy was not the normal straight line. See, if you are commenting just that depreciation policy was inappropriate, no. Lack of knowledge, many candidates struggle to come up with the appropriate risk around the decommissioning cost in relation to the oil platforms, and much of this was due to the lack of accounting knowledge. So this is the reason as to why I tell my students that give SBR first and then come to AAA paper. Okay. Now I was about to tell you regarding, your time management. This is the time where I need to tell you about the time management. Guys, see, the most important part is like you have 3 hours. Okay, so you know that you will be spending your half time on section A and remaining half on B and C, like question number 1 and 2 of section B, right? I would suggest you that in your question number 1, in your question number 1 of section A, that you don't do the risk part first. You do the remaining 2 parts first. Why? Because now you will understand, you will have a mindset that, okay, at least out of 4 requirements, I am done with 2 requirements. What majority of students do, they spend then more than 1 hour on first part, right? That is risk. And now they will be very, very, very nervous as to how I will attend remaining 3 questions or remaining 2 questions. So it is better that you actually solve the remaining first and then you move on to the risk, because now you will be in much calm mindset that, okay, I have 1.5 hours, 30 minutes gone there. I have 1 full hour to attend this. So this is a proper time management that I would suggest. But again, please don't go and experiment it finally, directly in your final paper. Just do a practice platform, pay, just solve one particular question or solve just one particular paper and see whether this techniques actually works for you or not. Now, when it comes to principal audit procedure, please, please, please focus on what is being asked. Principal. So writing general procedures or non-principal procedure like cast will not fetch you marks. Fine. Then what is being asked? Impairment of CGUs. Impairment of CGUs. So if you write any other procedure related to the bank and everything, you will not be fetched marks. Okay? 8 marks, 8 procedures. Easy. Now, use accounting knowledge. Many candidates were unable to convert their accounting knowledge in relation to the impairment of assets into appropriate audit procedure. Again, one more golden tip for you, that whenever you are doing audit procedures, think about the accounting knowledge. That would be most important thing. Why? I'll tell you. See, for example, you have to write the procedures regarding inventory. Okay. Now, when it comes to inventory, just imagine what all things I have in IS2. Cost, how can I verify cost in the data? NRV, how can I verify NRV? Then, okay, I can compare the total figures, right? Total inventory balance, total inventory days. So this is how you will at least get a starting point as to how I start my audit procedures. Okay. General procedures, the weakest answers focused on reviewing board minutes, discuss with the management, obtain written representation. Make sure you are not writing general procedure. Make sure you are writing procedures which will fetch you reliable evidences. Okay. Professional marks, the strong. Now, this is a misconception and this is a myth that I would like to bust today, that students think there would be no professional marks when it comes to procedures. Guys, examiner has clearly told us, if you are writing your procedures well under evaluation, analysis, and you are applying professional judgments as to which will fetch me more reliable evidence, which is better procedures, you will be fetch professional marks in the procedures as well. Now, coming on to the final requirement, which was regarding the discussing auditor's responsibility and the impact on planning. Now, again, this was something new that has come up. 8 marks. Few students just kept on writing this. Few students kept on writing this. So make sure that you are dividing these marks, you are splitting these marks, and you are fulfilling both the requirements and you are answering both the question. Now, I would like to give you a gist as to what this question was. Our internal audit department has been performing a review of the acquisition of operating licenses and associated costs and has brought to my attention a payment made outside of the normal internal control process. It was directly to the politician in another country, okay, where the group has been negotiating a new license and its authorization has been traced back to one of the regional. This payment appears to be have made before the politicians stopped the new platform in the region. So see, this was very, very, very important. I am concerned that this payment may be linked to the granting of operating license. So this payment seemed to be linked to the payment, but it was done to the politician in another country. So here you have to apply your skepticism. Okay. Candidates were also asked to consider the impact that this issue might have on the audit planning, specifically as the audit committee was concerned that this payment has not been detected by Plum during the internal auditors. Okay. So when it comes to this particular question, students actually wrote their favorite procedures that discuss with the TCWG. Guys, the moment you write this particular thing, it became absolutely wrong because the question itself mentioned that they have already have the idea, and in fact they were the ones who sent us the email. So you cannot just keep on telling them the same thing which they already know. So please read the question very properly. Poor answers were able to identify that further evidence would be requirement. Now again, general statement. Which evidence are you talking about? How would you obtain those evidences? Nothing has been written as to how and what evidence are you talking about. They simply wrote further evidence, which is very, very, very wrong. And only specific answers fetched you the marks. All those who were tailored, balanced, and had a detailed discussion. Otherwise, it was not fetched any marks. So that's it for our first part of the report. And we are done with question number 1. We actually got few very important insights from this particular part. Firstly, different style of ROMM, how examiner is deducting marks, and what are the common mistakes, and how important it is for you to write a specific answer, okay, and not general answer. So that's it for this particular video. I'll see you in part number 2, where we will be covering question number 2 in detail. So make sure that you read the question number 1, you open the paper, and then you watch this video side by side. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Have a great day. All the very best.